Listen up. We are back for the first time in a long time with the Construction Mentor podcast. My name is Ike. I am so happy to be back. My ability to be back is a reflection of my life calming the F down and me getting my feet under me. I just moved across the country from Florida to Texas. So the heavy lift is over, and now I can get back to hopefully bringing some value to people in the podcast format. And to do that, well, first of all, I guess I should say, what are we here to do? And we're here to promote the construction industry. We're here to make sure everybody's aware of the opportunities that they have to take advantage of the industry, to achieve whatever kind of life they want to live, what kind of car they want, where they want to live, what they want their family to look like. And that's what we're going to talk about today. I put out a poll on social media, and I asked people, what do you want me to cover on this podcast? And more than one person said fatherhood. Fatherhood, what is it to be a father? What advice do people have? What do people struggle with? And in order to do that, I wouldn't be able to adequately address fatherhood without bringing somebody in, particularly somebody that runs their own business, knows what that's like, but also knows what it's like to actually operate in the trades. The first thing that everybody would buck back at me is or call me out on is exactly, I mean, if you're on audio, you can't see me, but I am dressed for how I go to work right now, and it's with a shirt and collar and buttons and a watch and gelled hair. And, because I'm an office guy, right? I'm in a different world. But I brought on my man, Garrett Davis, the life of Bub. If you haven't followed him on social media, you definitely need to, especially if you're into carpentry content. He can kind of do a little bit of everything, but he's all those things that I am not. So we're going to be able to tackle fatherhood, from every angle here. So with that, Garrett, how you doing, buddy?
What's up, man? Thank you for having me on, dude.
And if you didn't know, Garrett just moved too. Garrett, so we both left Southwest Florida.
Yeah,
I went to Texas. Where'd you go?
I went back to Maine. So originally from Maine, moved to Florida in 2023. Gave it hell for 2 years, and life happened, and we're back in Maine. And I'm blessed to be back. I'm happy to be here.
There you go. So the first thing that I would point out here, we're both New England guys. I grew up in Massachusetts. He grew up in Maine. I've moved to California and New York and New Jersey and Florida and now Texas. He on a whim kind of moved down to Florida and now back to Maine. One of the beautiful things about having skills in the construction industry, whether it's, Garrett working with his hands, of which he has very good content. You should go check that out. Or me, who's kind of working with my head, I guess I would say, you can pretty much move wherever you want. And whatever you're kind of feeling, we both felt like, in 2020 for me, 2022 for you, Florida was the move. And then we were both like, fuck that. It wasn't the move, or it wasn't the move anymore. And then we move on. So, before we get into the fatherhood content, it's definitely just something to point out.
Right. And I mean, it will go hand in hand with the fatherhood content, because that's a big reason why I left Florida and came back to Maine.
So again, and we're both fathers, right? So we both know what it's like to work in the industry, have all the demands physically, mentally, coordination, and also try to balance, kids more on the way and all those things. So I have a 3-year-old, or 3.5-year-old, and a 1.5-year-old. So I know what that's like, throughout the whole process, and maybe got more coming. It's on the radar, right? It's in discussion. Garrett, how many kids do you got?
I got one. I got a 3-year-old, and then we're gonna have a little girl in January. So
in January, right? So
yeah, man.
So and a lot of challenges come with that, right? Because the first time, it's the first time, and there's nobody kind of relying on you. And then the second time, it's like you got this little human kind of messing everything up while you're getting ready for the next one. And there's hormones and emotions and all those things coming into play. And that's something to balance, too.
Yeah, yep.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you're right, man. I feel like it's tougher on the woman the second time. I think that it's been a lot different. And Megan had a terrible first trimester too, which she didn't have with Weston. So that was kind of playing into us while we were packing up to get ready to move back to Maine, which was a whole nother thing. So
Yeah, being pregnant in Florida, hot and humid every day, packing up to go to Maine. And listen, it's a thing. Like I always tell younger guys, I have a younger guy that's working on my team now, and the first before you even become a father, the first thing that you have to realize is the toll on the woman. Right? We don't know about it. We're never going to know about it. They got things going on in between the ears that we'll never know about. The first time they go through it, they might have one experience. The next time, it'll be a totally different experience. My wife, same thing. She thought she had it bad the first time, and then when she had my daughter, and maybe it's because of the daughter thing, with hormones in their body and stuff like that. She had such a worse time, and because she was so physically, I mean, she had whole days, several days in a row where she couldn't get off the couch. Then she starts questioning like her ability to be a mom. She feels like she's not picking up the slack. And just like if we were felt inadequate at work or our ability to provide or something like that, like depression can set in, and it's a whole thing, and you don't really know about it until you're in there, right?
totally. Yeah. Yep.
So to balance what we balance at work and construction and deal with all that crap, right? Same shit, bigger pile every day, and then come home and to do that, it can be pretty frustrating. It can be like I really don't need this right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's a tough workload to battle, and that's before you even have the kid.
Right. Right. Yeah. And it's like, and then once you had the kid, I mean, Megan went to be a stay-at-home mom when we moved to Florida. Like she had a really good job, made a lot of money, and then she just stopped working and became a stay-at-home mom. And that was like a whole another thing. We were in a new area. I was leaving every day to go to work. She was home with a baby. It was a lot of changes in the last 3 years, man. A lot of changes.
Yeah, and then no friends,
No friends.
isolation.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah. No kids. There's like no kids in Florida, really,
it's honestly one of the reasons that we left. We didn't like it for raising kids. I mean, we had a lot of kids in our neighborhood, but wasn't the right environment. And I could talk about that all day. But I didn't even plan on pointing that out, but I do think that it's worth pointing out that as a father, there is an extra load, and sometimes you just got to be there. Sometimes you got to empathize. Sometimes you just got to be a punching bag. But our role is to be whatever the mom needs, whatever hopefully our wife needs, in that role. And it's not easy, but you got to leave energy and time and all the things that we're about to talk about for that, as well as the kids when they pop up. So
Yeah, I agree.
uh,
Well said. You say things so nicely compared to how I was. Much appreciated.
yeah, um, had a lot of practice. So so some of the things that came up, and the first thing I want to go to is time. And work life balance came up, and a lot of comments that I had. One smart ass, and I know who it is, and if he's listening, he knows who he is. He said, "Nobody cares. Figure it out. Work harder." And that's kind of the problem, like with the industry, right? Like that's the stigma, but that's why we're here to talk about it. So we're actually going to have a conducive or productive conversation here.
Yeah, yeah.
So the best comment that I had that I think sums it up is time with family versus providing for the family, balancing that and just the mental struggle that comes along with it. You got long and unpredictable hours. Oftentimes, I think even in a management position, like my wife will ask me, when are you going to be done? And I'll say in 20 minutes, 3 hours later, I'm done, type of deal. Oftentimes it's because once you start something, you have to finish it. You can't just walk away from it, or something pops up, all of a sudden you hit a water line, and, a geyser pops up. Um, Missing milestones, recitals, school events, all of those types of things. And physically we have to be there, right? Like there is no work from home and a lot of construction. So Garrett, what's your take on that? Or what's the first thing that comes to your mind when it thinks of just balancing time, providing and physically being with your family?
It's I don't know. I feel like some people make it more difficult than it really has to be. I don't know. I Work will always be there, right? So like I kind of made it a pact to myself when I got to Florida and Megan did become a stay-at-home mom, because as a man, I couldn't do what she does every day. I love my kid. I love Weston, but it's a lot. I made sure that like I wasn't going to work weekends. And when I get home at a certain time, you know, I put my phone down, I shut my phone off and focus on the family. And I don't know, I see a lot of people throughout social media and you know like, oh, I'm providing and I'm putting in the late hours now so I'll have time with them later, but it's like you don't get these years back when they're small, and they're just like such precious years. Like they just go from this nothing that can barely move to like walking, running, talking. You know, Weston's a little over 3 now, and you can actually have like not a full on conversation, but you can, he's talking and you're talking. And I don't know, man, to miss that would be like, I don't know. I don't feel like, I feel like if I can't get in what I need to get in Monday through Friday, then I'm probably doing something wrong with my business. Cause I'm not huge. You know, I don't have 10 employees, and I try to keep one project going at a time depending on how things are rolling. But I think that if I couldn't do that, then I'm doing something wrong. So I really try to focus on that time to be home at a certain time every day. And that's like, that's time with the family. And then the weekends are whatever it is. A lot, you know, a lot of the time it's like give Megan a break so she can go hang out with some friends and not be with her kid that she's with 24 hours a day. So have
Hey,
some time with dad.
that's huge. I actually quite literally 2 hours ago had a conversation with somebody that I work with, and I'm up in Canada right now. Young guy, and he was just telling me like he's like, I don't really know what to do. Like, what does a guy do in the first 6 months? Like, it's all kind of on the woman, right? And I was like, have you thought about like letting her get out and do something on her own? That matters, right? And to your point about being present, like I think one of the best things that I've done, and oftentimes as a person at my level, even just as a super or project manager, I probably work more hours than most guys in the field just because I'm accessible between my phone and my laptop at all times. One of the best things that I've done is just put my phones on top of the fridge from 5 to 7. Like from the time I'm hanging it up from work to getting my kids in bed, like nothing is going to happen or be that urgent that I don't have to pick up the phone unless I know something's going. Maybe a power shutdown's going on or something like that, and like that's special, right? That doesn't happen every day, but just physically being present, and your kids are always watching, right? Like because I'm with my son so much and I give him that time. My son is more advanced in a lot of ways than other kids, and it's not a coincidence in my eyes. My son is also not addicted to like phones or iPads, so if they constantly see you on those things, they're gonna want it, right? Like they just naturally that's what they're gonna want to have their hands on. That's what they're gonna be interested in. That's what they're gonna want to do. I'm not perfect. Like I post on social media constantly. There are plenty of days where I'm like, shit, I got to get back to put my phone in the fridge. But it's definitely a huge thing, and you just got to do it. I think when it comes to time, I always thought that providing is what being a man meant. Anybody can shut off their family for extended periods of time and just focus on work. Providing isn't enough. That's not what it means to be a man. Like you have to be also present in the home and be a husband first and foremost, and to be a father second, because you have to have, if you and your wife are stable, that's just going to be a better environment for the child. And then you have to be absolutely present, for the kid as well. And then you also have to take care of yourself and you have to set the example. And I think some of the other things with balance and time that we can talk about, um, you know, allowing them to be present, maybe even sometimes while you work, could be a way to kill two birds with one stone, to teach them, to have them around while things are happening, and to also set the example. You had an interesting take on that and the cruel world that we live in.
So it's, I, I, and I don't know, it's just, I love that you just mentioned that though, like bringing them around, because like Weston's like biggest thing right now is like, what you doing, Dad? What you doing, Dad? What you doing, Dad? Like he always wants to know what I'm doing, and I'm like always like, yeah, no, come over here. Like I'm trying to show him, man. You know, what I am doing, hang out with me for a minute. His attention span's pretty short, and he sees a butterfly and runs away, or it's now a pile of leaves. But yeah, man, and I also love that you said you're not perfect, because I'm definitely not perfect, man. And I hate using the word influencer, but I do have a following, and I do have brand deals, and I do have to spend some time on social media, probably more than I would really like to. But I'm not perfect, and I definitely struggle with that. And sometimes I'm like, no, I just want to take it's an addiction, man. So it's a struggle for me to I have to really work at putting my phone away and not staring at it. That's true story.
So, one of the things that came to my mind, because you had made a comment about like exposing them to what you do and how to do things the right way, and not to like buy into the corrupt bullshit that I think we all see, especially when we're at work. But like when I think back to my core memories as a child with my father, and my father was a pipe fitter in Boston for 40 years, right? Like I remember being as young as like 4 or 5 years old. Maybe three can be too young to be in some job site situations. But I remember being close to that young, being on rooftops when he was changing out rooftop units, in Boston. And he might take me on a job walk or a site walk, or, my fondest memory was going to Gillette Stadium every weekend, and he was there on Saturdays, like running the job as a super, but I got to be right there next to him. So I think there's something to be said about allowing them to be present as much as you can, especially when they get a little bit older.
Yeah, man. No, I think that's cool that your dad was in construction, because my dad was definitely not in construction. So I my uncle was, though, so that's who I always like. I always when my younger uncle, whenever I was around, I'm like, yeah, that guy's the man. Like I always thought, he had the nice trucks and the lettered up and building houses, and I always thought that was super cool. So it's funny how I look back in my life at that and to where I am now. It just all makes sense, why I ended up doing what I'm doing.
What's your take on like the unpredictable hours, the overtime? I mean, you were running your own show, right? So, and that's another benefit of the construction industry, right? Like you work for yourself, so you kind of make the rules. But what would you say to people that feel like it can be kind of unpredictable? Overtime, when it comes, they feel like they have to take it, and like the effect that might have on being able to be a present, dad and husband.
I mean, right now, Florida was kind of a shit show, and financial struggles were real. And getting back to Maine, I've just been like you just said, like kind of just taking everything, like all the phone calls, give me the work, like, and I told Megan that, just getting here, like that was going to probably be a thing, because I need to provide for the family, need to get the business back going, need to make sure that people know that I'm back in Maine. So there's a lot going on, but it happened so quick. Like I'm so busy already. So I'm already looking at that whole, getting back to being present, because I've definitely been, for the past 3 or 4 weeks, just kind of diving in, and it's working. But I don't know too, just to like off top, not really off topic, but we're living at home right now with my mother and my stepfather. So
Nice.
we so we want to talk about being a man and being present. My mother had a stroke in 2024. She's doing great, but there's definitely things that I can help around the house with. My stepfather struggles with neuropathy, so there's stuff that I can help him with. So I got my stepdad, my mother, my wife, who's pregnant, 6 months pregnant, my 3-year-old, our two dogs that are like 100 pounds, and we're living at my mom's house. So I'm coming home from work right now to all of that. It's not just my little family. So I'm trying to be there for my wife. I'm trying to be there for my son. I'm helping my mother do things around the house. I'm kind of going rambling off here, but it's
Well,
to be
I,
present.
here's the thing, and here's what I've had to realize. I actually just posted about it today. Like, there's always going to be shit going on. Nobody ever has. I posted, "What's your next 1,000 days going to look like today?" You're always going to get sick. Your kids are always going to get sick. Your other people that you're close to, shit is going to happen to them. You're going to have to be there for other people, and you're going to have to find a way to keep it going, right? And I think like one of the one of the mindsets that I have been able to adopt and that I have to work on constantly. Like I always have to remind myself. This actually came from my CEO of my current company that I'm at. Um, and I have some more advice that he gave me that I want to talk about with time, but was to compartmentalize. And what does that mean, right? Like when you get up, I don't have to build a deck today. I don't have to take care of my mother or my mother-in-law or whoever today. All I have to do right now is get the kids dressed and make them breakfast, right? Drop that. I go to work. I don't have to be a dad right now. I just have to build this deck, or I just have to, build a schedule for this project, or I just have to price this project, or I just have to have this meeting with this client that is a tough conversation and just get through it. You get through those things all day. And then when you get home, all I have to do right now is put my phone. Sometimes I have to do 5 minutes in the driveway, decompress. All I have to do is put my phone on the fridge, and I don't have to do any of those things. I don't have to deal with anything that I dealt with earlier today. I don't have to get back on my phone or my computer and start sending emails tonight or price jobs or do whatever I got to do. All I got to do is be present for the family and do this one thing right now. So compartmentalizing your day and just being totally present and not trying to feel like you have to accomplish the whole day's work in one moment in time, I feel like is something that a perspective again that it's like a muscle that I got to work on, and it's not fully developed. But my better days are the days where I can do that and be conscious of it.
That's great. I mean, then you don't have scrambled brain and you're not like forgetting what's going on and overwhelming yourself. I like that a lot.
You had a good one here. You know, well, I guess Let me go. Let me go here first.
Did I even answer the last question?
um, I don't even know if I remember what the last question was, but I liked where you went with it because honestly, it just came down to the fact that you just have a huge workload and you got to be there for your family, and
Yeah.
you can't. You had a really good quote here that you gave me before when we were texting back and forth, and I wrote it down. Work will always be there. Your kids won't. Run the business. Don't let the business run you. So you can't let it run your life, right? It's a means to take care of people. And the other thing that you had here was to cherish the mornings and nights with your kids, and that you always take the weekends off. Talk about the mindset when you talk about cherishing those moments. Like what do you actually? What's your thought process? Because you're a pretty spiritual guy. You meditate a lot. So you work. If you don't know this about Garrett, I'm serious. Like he spends more time on that than honestly I think is possible for myself. But what does that actually mean to you when you cherish it?
Just be there, man. Just like live in that moment. Like I get to see my son probably maybe a half an hour in the morning before I leave for work. And then I get to be with him, for depending on if I get, I get around home around 4 or 5. So I get to be, another couple hours till he goes to bed at 7:30. So, that's like maybe 3 hours a day. So that's 15 hours Monday through Friday that I get to be with my son. So it's like, just like, and right now they're growing so fast, so much is happening. It's like, the other day, I know this is going to sound so cheesy, but you're going to understand. It's like, dude, he said strawberries for the longest time. And the other day he goes, Dad, I want some strawberries. And I was just like, what, dude? Like, oh my God. Yeah. I'm like, did you just say it right? Fuck. So it's just like, it goes by so fast, and everybody tells you that. And it's so cliche. And, like when you're having your first kid, they're just like, cherish those moments. It goes by fast, and you're like, yeah, whatever. And it really does. I mean, the fact that he's already 3 is just nuts. So, just being in that moment, man, just living it and enjoying every minute of it.
Yeah, I think for me, I pray a lot. It's something that I picked up in 2025. But even if you don't pray, all my prayers have just wound up being like me expressing gratitude for the things that I have. And I think when you have like the sleepless nights or your kids throwing a temper tantrum or they're upset about something and you're rolling your eyes and it's like, oh my God, like the wind blew the wrong way, like, or your food fell on the floor or, whatever. It's not that big of a deal. And I've had such a stressful day, like calm the fuck down or go to fucking sleep or like, like, I can't believe you just shit for the 3rd time this hour. Like practicing a little bit of gratitude that your kids are healthy and that you do get to spend the time with them and that you can provide for them. It sounds corny, but it actually works, and kind of having the mindset of like, oh, I get to be there for my daughter right now. I'm the only person in the world that she wants to calm her down. And yeah, it's freaking midnight or it's 1 a.m, but I get to be here, and I'm not always going to have to be here. So I look at that, and I know there's other things coming up too. Like a lot of feedback that I had was about missing milestones. And I don't know, like you and I haven't had a ton of experience with this because I think a lot of people were referring to like missing games and recitals and like kind of events. And our kids are younger, right? So they're 3.
Yeah.
They're not really having those things yet. But I'm curious to get your perspective as a business owner and somebody that if you report to anybody, it's clients, right? Like it's people that you're actually working for. From the corporate side, again, I work for a $12 billion a year company. I've actually had conversations with my COO and my CEO and my own clients and my own people that I report to, when I'm like, when I say, hey, I gotta be here for my family, or my son is doing this, my son's first day of preschool, or next week I'm taking my son on a field trip to a farm. I gotta do it. You know, I've never had anybody say like, are you fucking serious? You know what I mean? Like obviously you can't abuse it, but like if you got to make the game or you got to leave early or you got to do something, like people generally understand. Maybe I commit to getting back online at 9 o'clock at night or 10 o'clock at night to get something done or give them a deliverable, but communicating that usually goes pretty well. So what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, like you said though, I'm kind of my own boss. Um, I feel like we've had milestones though. We got to like watch our kids walk and talk, and those are milestones that I didn't miss because I was home. Because
Fair
I can
point.
make my own schedule. Down in Florida was like 2 years of. I feel like I didn't even really work. I was just like in paradise for 2 years, like, fucking enjoying my pool and shit. So yeah, I don't know. I guess I didn't have kids when I worked for somebody else, so I never had to really deal with that. I've just made sure since Weston was born that dude, and I'm not perfect like at all. I love that you mentioned like getting stressed, angry, like why just go to bed, like because we all get caught up in that moment of frustration with our children, and you're just like, dude, what, like I guess, and it's so hard to sometimes put your brain into a 3-year-old's brain and wonder why. So, I'm glad that you brought that up because I work on that. I'm not some meditating friggin' yogi like plays me out to be. I have to work on gratitude a lot, and I pray a lot. I I have to pray a lot. And gratitude is important for me because my life today is a good life. I think I have a better life than a lot of people, and I can lose sight of that real fast if I don't have gratitude. So, yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
I
know.
think I think I think one of the like when you get to that moment of like frustration, I know for me, a lot of it has to do with time management where I'm like, I got to do this today, and you screaming right now is preventing me from doing this thing, right? My wife coming in and saying, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. I've been asking you for 3 days is preventing me from getting to the thing, right? That I have to do for my job or my career. If you can't see this because you're on audio, Garrett's laughing his ass off because I'm fucking talking the truth and he's experiencing the same thing. And again, my CEO, a guy who people who hate corporate America and hate the man wouldn't believe it. He's told me, he said the same thing. He's like, Brian, I am so ambitious and I want to do these things. And I'm talking to other, important people that you work so hard to get their attention and to put yourself in a position to make the money and to provide and do all these things and change the world. My wife gets in the way of that. And I have to remind myself that I am here to serve her and my family first. And I will get to that other stuff when I get to it. There will be time carved out. for you, like you said, like if you can't do it in 40 hours, then you might be doing something wrong, and you should probably start there first, and not get lost in the moment or lose sight of who you're supposed to serve first.
Right.
So it was something
Or,
impactful that he taught me from a person that I wouldn't expect it from.
or get up a little earlier so you get more than 40 hours in a week.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about that.
Oh shit.
So what time do you get up?
3:15.
3:15.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy because I've been doing that now for almost 2 months, and now I'm up before my alarm clock. I'm up at like 3:13. Like, oh, kind of got to pee, and then I look at
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, it's about that time.
You know it's coming.
Yeah. And do I want to get up at that time? Fuck no. I want to stay in bed every day, most every
And
day.
what are you doing at 3:15?
So, I'm going to the gym. So I'm about 28 minutes from the gym that I go to. So I get up at 3:15, go downstairs, make my pre-workout, which is Megawatt by First Form. It's got like 600 milligrams of caffeine in it or some shit. And I hop in my truck and I drive. I usually drive in silence. On my morning drive, just to be alone in my thoughts, and kind of, I guess it's kind of like meditation.
That's psycho shit.
Yeah, I know, right? Sometimes I'll put on the Real as Fuck podcast, so it's either silence or that. It's like one extreme to the next. Yeah, and I go to the gym. I get to the gym around 4 every day, and I work out till about 5:30, and then get home for 6, and then I have my coffee, hang out with Weston, get ready for work, and out the door by, I don't know, 7 usually. So
we could either go, well, we could go one of two ways. We could either go to the physical toll and energy and sleep, and or the stress and bringing it home. Let's stick on the physical toll, because we were just talking about sleep.
yeah, let's do that.
So how do you, and I think we're going to have two totally different perspectives, because I struggle with energy, but it's not from physical labor at work. So how does Garrett, who works with his body, runs his own business, have the energy to get up at 3:15, go to the gym, come back, be a dad for a couple hours, or an hour or a half hour, whatever it is, go to work, throw up a deck or whatever it is that you're building, come home, be a dad for a couple hours, and then, I don't know, you probably got to do meal prep, maybe like help out your wife, do something in the house. Like, talk about that.
Yeah. So, well, I go to bed super early. I go to bed at like 8:30 max. So when you were like, "Hey, can we do it at 8?" I'm like, "Dude, come on."
Yeah.
Come on,
Yeah.
So, yeah, I go to bed real early. And to be honest, I've been a morning person like my entire life. I'm just one of those people that I've always loved mornings. So, before I was doing this whole workout routine, I was getting up around 4:30 or 5, anyways. So to knock that back and just go to bed a little earlier was kind of easy for me. And I'm just like stoked at like what it's doing for my life. Shout out to you too, man. You've been a huge like inspiration. Taught me a lot. Like there's a few guys that have really, I look to for information about all this stuff that I'm doing right now. So I appreciate all the knowledge that you've given me. And you're like, now I know when you're not answering me, your phone's on your fridge. So I'm not mad about that anymore.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible at that sometimes. But hey, time management. Like sometimes you just got to put down the distractions, and if it's a distraction,
Right.
fucking get rid of it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I just started. I mean, I don't want to get too deep, too deep, but like Florida. Like I had my business in Maine for almost 8 years, and I closed down shop completely and moved to a new state, where I knew really nobody besides my brother-in-law and my sister, and tried to start a new business with my brother-in-law, and it didn't work out, and I really floundered for like 2 years in Florida. Like it was a struggle for us. Like we were like month to month with our bills for a while. Like I was stressed the fuck out. I was definitely more angry than I probably should have been with my life. And I really felt like a failure, to be honest. I felt like I was failing my family. I felt like I was failing my wife, my kid. Even though, like, it's so funny because it's all like materialistic shit and it's all smoke and mirrors on social media. Even though I had like this big, beautiful house in Florida with the custom swimming pool that I put in, like, that was all like, we made a shit ton of money on my house in Maine that I built personally. And we blew through that fucking money so fast in Florida, it's not even funny. And we were struggling. And people, when I moved back to Maine, were shocked. They're like, oh my God, like, it looked like everything was so great down there. And I'm like, well, yeah, because I'm not gonna, like, not gonna post the bad stuff, even though I do sometimes. But anyways, getting to where I'm leading to is like, I was just feeling like kind of like a big piece of shit. And I was, smoking too much. I wasn't eating very good. I wasn't really eating at all. I was like 158 pounds. I'm 6'3". And I was, vaping like it's my job and just stressed out, mad, didn't really like how I looked. And I've been there before, like, I hit rock bottom before I got sober. And I had a cocaine and drinking addiction, so I've been real skinny before, and I didn't like what I saw in the mirror, and I was kind of getting back to that point. So, dude, along with you and Scott Sheffield, shout out to him. Like, I just saw you guys getting after it, and I was like, I'm lean, like, I'm in good shape. Like, why the fuck would I need to work out, But I'm like, I'm gonna do it. And I told Scott, I think it was like a Saturday. I'm like, Monday, I'm fucking game, dude. I'm going in and I'm gonna do this. And that first week, dude, I remember texting you, and I'm like, bro, I can't raise my arms.
Yeah.
I'm like, are they broken?
And then you had a bad day after leg day. I think you felt like you had something up your ass.
Yeah, dude. Oh my God. I was so out of shape. Like, it was so bad. And I'm like out slinging my body every day doing construction and like so sore. I'm like relying on the chiropractor to bring me back to life every month. And man, I just thought I was fine. And I found out after a week of doing a pretty intense workout program that I was just like not fine, and I was not eating well, and I was not in shape. So I made the change, and I don't know, I think I'm like 5 months into it now. And
I mean, kudos to you. Like, if there's one thing that I'll say, but you've stuck with it in a way past a point where most people would have quit, right? Either because they would have fell back to old habits, or they would have got fat. Fat wasn't your problem. Or they just would have felt like, they made progress and that they didn't really need it, or, whatever. There's a million reasons why people fall off. You haven't. I also got to give you credit. Like, you were super self-deprecating about it. Like I think a lot of people, and it sounds stupid or silly to somebody like me, like, just go in the fucking gym and figure it out. Like, nobody knows what they're doing. Like, at first, nobody's going to judge you. But I think a lot of guys are embarrassed about it. Like, either going in there fat or going in there out of shape or not knowing how to do something. Like, you sent me a video one time. I don't even remember what it was, but you did something wrong. And I was like, you're going to hurt yourself doing that. Please don't do that. Right. But like, you just, oh, okay. Like, and you fixed it and, whatever.
yeah.
Talk about, I think a lot of people, you kind of just alluded to it. A lot of people would say like, oh, I'm so physical at my job, I don't have to go to the gym. Or, I don't have the energy for that. Like, I have to be energetic, at work, or I can't get up early because I'm so tired from work. And I think when you improve physically, you improve mentally, and vice versa. Like, they're both a function of each other. And it's a nice cycle that you can get in. And I think you're almost addicted to it now. I think you are addicted to it, just like I'm addicted to it. It's a good addiction to have. Yeah. So talk to me about somebody who does work with their body, putting that extra toll on your body. You mentioned before, like, you were relying on a chiropractor. Do you have better energy levels at work? And does that translate into being a better dad too?
Absolutely. Like, my energy levels, I'm pretty high energy anyways, but my energy levels are definitely better. And I think it's funny that, like, I use that forever. Like, I'm physical in my job, like, but if you're not in shape, you're actually not as physical as you think you are in your job, and you're just like destroying your body. And now that I've been doing this for like 5 months or whatever, it's wild to me, like, the amount of people that as I typically do on my social media page, I kind of show everybody a little glimpse into my life, because my life above page is not just work; it's my life. That's why it's called the life of Bub. So, like, I've showed a glimpse of what I'm doing, and a lot of people reach out to me, and they're just like, "Man, like, I wish I could do that." And I'm just like, you you can do it, like, and whether they're out of shape or they're overweight and they're like, you're choosing to like eat like crap and all that when you could just choose to go to the gym. And definitely, dude, the embarrassment, like, I had never been to a gym before, like, besides being in rehab, but I was like coming out of a 3-year fog of cocaine and booze. Like, I didn't even know what was going on when I was at that gym. But so, like, I walked into this gym, and my plumber goes there, Keith, and I even said to him, I think it was like after like day 2, I was like, dude, I feel so lost here. Cause I like started doing this in my garage in Florida. So it's like 100 degrees in my garage. Like,
Some dumbbells and a yoga mat, man.
yeah.
That's what Garrett had.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, that's all I had was some like dumbbells. And I kind of went up. I think I had like 5 sets of dumbbells by the end of it, in like a 12 by 12 mat with a TV. But anyways, going to a gym was an experience, because you see people of all different kinds there: skinny people, big people, act people. And then like you can't compare yourself to that. Like my plumber, Keith, he's like, shows up like 419, walks into the deadlift area and starts deadlifting without even stretching it. I'm just like, what the fuck, man? So yeah. But anyways, my energy levels are definitely better. And I think that it totally makes me like a better parent, because I feel better about myself. Like, I was in a rough place, man, down in Florida. And, we packed up, moved our whole life again in the second time in 2 years. And just since I got back to Maine and got back around people that like I know, like familiar faces, like all of it, like all of my subs, all the people I work with, my wife's got her family back around her. So it's just like the whole unit is so whole right now. And it just makes life that much better. And, because if you don't like yourself, you can't really like anybody else. You can't.
You got to take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself. You got to be right. Again, the more you take care of yourself physically, the better you're going to be mentally. It's a vicious cycle to get into. That's awesome. I've had a lot of people tell me, especially I've had a lot of guys on the podcast that are jacked into the trades, and that's kind of like what they do. They treat it like they're an athlete on it as well. Honestly, like it gives them better energy levels and confidence, and they're right between the ears. But they stretch and they roll. They roll out their muscles and they try to do everything that they can to take care of themselves, because that's how they're going to make money. A lot of them don't even want to go into management either. They love what they do, and they take it seriously, and they either power lift or they walk or they run. I think for me, even being an office guy, like I do 2 a days typically. Like I'll do some sort of cardio session, and then I'll do some sort of heavy lifting session. And even sometimes on the weekends, like I'll do those things, and I'll do like, yard work, or I'll build something at the house, home project that I'll do myself. One of the things that I struggle with and I forget sometimes is to leave a little bit in the tank. Like, you can't go into the 5 to 7 o'clock hours as a parent of young kids with nothing in the tank. Like, they will test that. Sometimes you just have to. And I think that's why I'm so amazed / I feel bad for kids who have one parent. There's no way that one parent has enough energy to be the parent and the only parent. There are days where I walk in from work and I immediately can tell that my wife is done. No energy left. All the energy's on me. There are days where neither of us have energy. There are plenty of times, probably more often than the other way around, where my wife looks at me and I can tell she can see that I got nothing to give, and she'll take the lion's share of the kids. But where I go so hard at work, and then podcasting, and then crushing it at the gym, I'll run fucking 10 miles before work, and then I'll do a full chest day, and then I go to work, and then I'm bouncing around job sites, and I'm doing this, and then I'm just fried from meetings all day. Like, I have to be cognizant sometimes. Again, it's easy for me to focus on work and to just focus on like being jacked, especially if it's for vanity. But that leaving no energy for my family doesn't make me a man, right? I have to leave enough energy to be able to play with my kids, to be able to put my phone down and engage with them and read a book, and to walk them through math or how to count or what colors are, or, just sitting there with my daughter and letting her, do like on my mouth, like, you know what I mean? Like just stupid stuff. So there is a balance in everything, right? You go all in sometimes to lose weight. You go all in on your job sometimes to get a project done. You go all in on your family sometimes when you have people at home that need to be taken care of. It's a pendulum that has to always swing. But for the most part, I do try to make sure. And I'm not perfect. There are times where I walk in and I snap, and I'm like, I immediately, and this feeling, like you snap and you immediately, before you're even done snapping, finish the sentence, right? You're like, fuck, I just failed. And that's tough.
For sure. Yeah, man.
So
That's
it's
like,
just something that I try to be cognizant of,
I hate that shit. Like you said, the ones when you do it and you know, like immediately you see their face and you're just like, oh fuck, why did I do that? Hate that
Yeah.
shit, man.
And
But
I think,
oh, don't go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, that's a big reason why I get up so early too, is I get to spend that little bit of time with Weston in the morning. Like I could totally just like get up at 5, go to the gym, shower there, and go to work and never come back home in the morning and not see my kid till the end of the day. Like the plenty of guys that are there are doing that. So I like that little bit of time. I get to come back and hang out on the couch and drink some coffee. And again, it's important to me. So that's kind of how I disciplined myself to do it.
Yeah, I like doing it too. I take pride in the fact that my wife gets to sleep in a little bit. Sleep in's a loose term when you're a parent of young kids, but on the days where she can, like, even if she's in bed and she can't sleep and she's doom scrolling, like it's just, I take a lot of pride in the fact that she doesn't have to get up and immediately do it herself. You know what I mean?
I think it's funny you brought up vanity because it is like, I mean, it is cool when you start like getting, I don't know, looking different,
Well, I mean, there's definitely byproducts, and hey, here's the thing: like, you put so much work into that. Like, there's nothing wrong with taking pride in your appearance and being like, yeah, I fucking worked for a year to look like this every day, 2-a-days. Like, don't give me shit, like just because you don't want to get your fat ass off the couch.
Right. Yeah, I felt so cheesy the first time I ever said. I'm like, bro, I'm not trying to be weird about this, but I'm pretty stoked about how I'm looking right now. You're like, nah, man,
Yeah, I'm like, fuck it, post about it.
Yeah.
Well, you don't know who's watching, right? Like,
Right.
and again, that's something to go back to with the kids, where it's like, how many people do you go to at the grocery store that you see are fat and out of shape, and their kids are also fat, right? And you look in their grocery cart and they got, Mountain Dew and, Twinkies and whatever else. Like, your kids are watching, and it's no coincidence. Like, I'm just going to say it straight out. 8 out of 10 of the leading causes of death in America are directly related to being overweight. You're giving your kids a death sentence if you set a poor example for them. So I know that's like really harsh to hear because everyone loves their kids, but if you're going to love your kids, you got to start by loving yourself. So,
dude, that's why I'm so glad too that I started doing the workout thing too, because I got rid of the vape with like being a weekend. I was like, why am I doing this? And like right before that, like, dude, I would have the vape on the counter and my son would like point at it and be like, Daddy. I'm like, oh, there we go. Fucking great example. Daddy walks around with a pink dick in his hand and vapes on it all day. Like, I want to be just like him. Like, come on now. So,
and I think that there's something else to be said too about, like, it's hard to work 8, 10, 12-hour days, whether you're doing physical labor like you are or you're doing office stuff like me. But like we said, there's a huge advantage of bringing kids to the job site if you can, or making them feel like they're involved or seeing what you do and kind of letting them learn that way. There's also a big time advantage in getting physical with the kids, right? Like I sometimes, and I need to get better at this because I got in the habit of just being addicted to going to the gym because of how good the workout equipment is, and I just want to do it because I feel better. But me doing push-ups in front of my son is killing two birds with one stone. Again, I can be having fun with my son, and sometimes I'll put him on my shoulders and I'll do squats with him, or do the workout ball and I'll throw him up in the air as I'm doing crunches or like whatever.
Yeah,
Doing
yeah.
that type of stuff is super creative because I'm playing with them, I'm setting the example, but I'm also getting the physical, which is making my mental better. So anytime you can kind of overlap those things, like those are good things. The notion that like our kids are supposed to be away from us is not, that's like a new thing in the last 100 years. Like putting your kid in school and letting public school teachers and coaches run their life from 7 in the morning till 7 at night is not the way that God intended it.
Right.
Right? Our kids are meant to be with us. So if you can do it, find ways to do that is basically what I would say.
No, I like that. It is funny too because our kids do watch us, and like Weston obviously saw me doing what I was doing down in Florida in the garage, so now he knows that I'm going to the gym in the morning. So like I like got some tools today in the mail, and I like lifted up a box, and he's like, "Daddy's so strong! Daddy's so strong!" He's like my little hype man,
Yeah, and
you
nothing
know?
makes you feel better. Like nobody
Yeah.
nobody could say that about you and have that make you feel like any better.
Right. Yeah.
Talk to me. So I want to switch away from the gym, stay on the physical toll. How do talk to me about safety fears? That's something that came up. I think a lot of guys are afraid of getting hurt. Maybe they feel like they're put in precarious situations at work where they feel like, their boss doesn't care if they get hurt or they don't have the right equipment. But in general, just fears about having a serious injury on the job that may impact the family or even maybe the longevity of being available, for the family.
Yeah. No, I mean, I've blown my back out severely like 3 times in my career. So, where it's like to the point I couldn't get out of bed for like, you know, a week. So, it didn't the first 2 times Megan was working, so, money was coming in, but it happened to me down in Florida when she wasn't working. So yeah, no, it's scary. I don't do the dumb shit that I used to do on the job site. I used to be very not safe. I was actually talking about the story the other day. I remember being up on like three stories on pump jack staging in Portland, Maine, and like we were doing like this historic building where we had like dental molds and like crowns, and we were fixing them, and like I strapped like a 2x to like the edge of the walking plank, like a diving board to like get out, onto like to get this one
Yeah.
detail that
Right.
so like I just
Right out of the OSHA handbook. Just
so so I just like now that I'm a dad and I'm getting older, I really try to work a lot smarter on the job site, machinery, pay attention to how I'm lifting things. That's been a big thing for me since I got started getting physical, like with my health and stuff. Like I'm really trying to focus on. I mean, construction as a laborer, you're literally constantly bending over and moving your body and lifting things. And when you're young, it doesn't matter. But I'm pushing 40, so it matters. And I mean, I've had every time I've blown my back out, it was something super stupid, like bending over to like grab the trash bag. So, just yeah, you just got to take care of yourself and really pay attention to how you're grabbing things. And if you feel like you're in an unsafe situation, like if you're working for somebody and someone's trying to make you do something not safe and you clearly know that it's not safe, like you don't have to do it. And if they're going to fire you over something stupid like that, then they're not someone you want to be fucking working for anyways, because no job is worth risking your life over at all.
no, definitely not. And I mean, if you're in there long enough and first of all, everybody needs help. So there's plenty of job opportunities out there. And if you can get to the point where you can kind of, write your own ticket and start doing work for yourself, then you don't have to worry about that. It's definitely a concern. I mean, I'm at the point personally where like, I don't even want to play basketball. I played basketball with my friend's 9-year-old and 8-year-old son, like in April, and I definitely tore my meniscus. Like, I
Yeah.
fuck, like, holy shit. Like, like, I'm like, how the fuck did I used to be any kind of an athlete? Or how am I even athletic as I am right now? and just the lateral movement of like moving on a basketball court like got me. And now like I can literally feel it right now, as we talk about it. But
It's that muscle though, like it's that movement. You're just not used to it.
yeah, I'm not used to it like I was when I was
Right.
16 and 8
Right.
and 5, but I'm not used to it now. I always watch my kids' legs and stuff too, and like my son will like nosedive onto the couch off the coffee table or something like that, and I look and he'll like scorpion, but like he's totally fine. And I'm like, dude, if that was me, I would, I'd be in a world of hurt, a
Yeah.
world of hurt.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I totally get the scare, of those types of things, and being able to provide for your family. I've been with people that have been hurt and been out of work for a long time. Um, I think most of that comes from either people doing dumb shit and thinking that getting a detail done, you know, the dumbass way that you just said that you got that one done is like a priority because either they take pride in their work or they want to be tough or whatever. Like, I'll give you a stupid example. The other day, I walked new house. I got the Starlink internet, and the peak of my roof is like 23 feet. It's it's no, it's higher than that. That's the peak of the 1-story side of my house. On the 2-story side of my house, it's way over 30 feet. Like it's high, and most of the roof is actually like a 60-degree slope. It's pretty significant.
Yeah.
The edge of my roof is about 15 feet off the ground at the lowest point. I used a 12-foot ladder to get up there, which meant what? I stood on top of the ladder to then laterally move my body onto the roof, and then I'm onto the roof like a gargoyle. And I'm standing there and I'm kind of like, oh my God, I'm about to go back. And I'm looking up a 60-degree incline. And I'm like, Ninja Warrior up the warp wall. And I'm like, fuck it, like send it. And I went up and I'm like hugging the board and batting, and I'm climbing up onto the more flat, higher part of the roof. And then I like shimmy my way up to get a protector, like almost like a cell phone protector onto my Starlink dish so that hail doesn't, doesn't.
Yeah.
And I'm up there. I'm like, man, this is a badass view. And I look down and I'm looking at the ladder and I'm like, there's a 40% chance that I don't make it down clean. And even as somebody that's an office guy, like I looked down and I was like, you know what? If I fall and break my arm or break my leg or my neck, definitely not going to be as good of a dad. I'm going to put so much on my wife. Like I'm not going to be able to work out. I'm going to throw myself into depression. Like it all just ran through, right? I was calculating the risk. And I was like, for what? I called my neighbor and I was like, hey, what's the tallest ladder you got? And he was like, 24-footer. Why? It's like, I may or may not be stuck on my roof. And he was like, what the fuck? And I see him like look outside and he like shakes his head and he came out like 5 minutes later with the ladder. But the whole point is like, it's just not worth it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not worth it. So, I
Well,
mean,
yeah, and you had the logical thinking to actually call your neighbor and not be like, no, I got this, and try it.
yeah, you're literally, and especially if you're working with your body, like, and if you're young, like your whole career progression of maybe even growing into a management role or owning your own company, like you might be cutting off your career growth by doing that. Um, I definitely just I don't support it. Use your freaking head. And I think most of the time people do get hurt in construction. I'd say 9 out of 10 times from the stories that I've heard, people then say, what a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
There's the times where you bend over and pick up the trash and your back seizes up. That definitely happens. But the major stuff that people either can't recover from or it's like life changing, usually somebody did something pretty stupid. And it's just not a thing that people should do anymore.
Well, yeah, and and my back blowing out from picking up the trash is definitely like related to something that probably happened like a week or two. It was like ready. It was just like real weak from being stupid on the job site. So yeah, that's crazy, man.
So stress and bringing it home, and we touched on it a little bit,
We
right?
did touch on them. Yeah, for sure.
And but I think we go a little bit deeper. So when it comes to stress and bringing it home and having that spillover, what pops into your mind?
It's just leads to a very, I don't know, not a very happy household if you bring it in. I was definitely, down in Florida, I was definitely bringing a lot of my shit again. Feel all those feelings I had that I talked about, and I was bringing a lot of that home, and it's just not nice. My wife's home all day, being a mom, chasing around a toddler. That's hard enough, and then her husband comes home and he's being a dick, and that whole compartmentalizing that you were talking about earlier, like you gotta just show up, and as hard as it might be, just put that stuff to the side, because stress is just that. And life is stressful. It's always going to be stressful, even when times are good. When times are bad, you're stressed. When times are good, you're stressed. I don't really know anybody that's not stressed. So, um, I don't know where I'm going with this, but
Well,
it's not a
I,
nice place.
I think you hit the nail on the head, right? And everyone wants their kids to be happy, and I think a lot of people would say that they'd prioritize their kids over the marriage. I don't agree with that. So I mean, there's a lot of popular content that doesn't agree with that. That says you should. I'm not saying that I'm like some profound thinker coming up with a new idea here, uh, but it's true. And I think when you come home, it's not even like, just to get a little more specific about bringing the stress home. This is what I want to talk about before. Um, I want my wife to show me respect as a man. I'll tell you what I mean by that. I don't mean to kiss my feet and fucking cook me meals, and like, that's not what I'm talking about. And like, thank me for my existence. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, I have a desire subconsciously for her to understand the weight of the world that is on my shoulders at work, how good I am at my job, the workload that I have, like what I'm able to do and how important the things are that I'm accomplishing, how good my work is, like relative to other people, the challenges that I have, and that like it's not easy when I leave the house, like just because I'm not here and you're stuck with the kids and they're, or your tank's empty. I get that. But it's not like I was out just hanging out with the guys. You know what I mean? The I would have rather it have been here. You know what I mean? And sometimes when I come home subconsciously, this is the biggest thing that I'm working on right now. And I fail a lot of days, maybe even more than half, is in an effort to communicate that subconsciously. I don't consciously do this, but I know I do it. I will try to come off not as flustered, but like, how's your day going? And then I'll start telling her and I'll start getting worked up about it. And I will subconsciously, my mannerisms, the body language that I have while I'm telling her, the tone in my voice, I'm trying to get a rise out of her to make her feel what I'm feeling, to get that respect. All I'm doing is raising her anxiety and putting her in a bad place by doing that. She already respects me, right? She knows how good I am at my job, and she knows that what I'm doing is important and providing for the family. All I'm doing is having a negative effect on her, and I'm creating a weaker foundation for us as a couple in that moment for my kids. And to have that in it for both of us, or at least one of us, to be able to have that energy and to be solid for the kids for the rest of the day until they go to bed. you know so what am I trying to say? Because I don't know if I'm being clear. Bring the temperature down, leave it on the job, come back to it at 7 or 8 o'clock after the kids go to bed if I have to, or just table it to the next day. Because trying to communicate the importance and the stress and the anxiety that I'm under, to my wife, for some sort of perceived notion that like she's going to give me more respect or take it easier on me or take on more of a load, doesn't make me a good husband or a good father. Do you feel that? Like,
Dude,
do you feel that at all?
You just told my story, man. I'm like, same exact way. Like, totally, dude. Like, the whole, like, getting all jacked up about it, Oh, how was your day? Well, you know what? Clarice was kind of a bit. Yeah. I thought you would never ask. Yeah, no, dude, same, man. And I'm trying to work on that, because especially like now, because I wasn't very busy in Florida, and now I'm like extremely busy back here in Maine. And it's like, be careful what you pray for. I just I gotta shut it down once I get home. And not only that, I mean, I also have, again, my mother and my stepfather around. So there's like a lot going on. We're not in our own space. So, but yeah,
Got a
dude,
lot of
same.
opinions, I bet.
Oh, fucking lot of lot of opinions, dude. Yeah, yeah. So no, man, I love that. I love how you said it. Leave it at the job site. That goes back to like work's always going to be there, right? Like I don't go back to work after I put my son to bed. I get in bed, and that's a moment I can either talk to my wife a little bit or do a little bit of scrolling on Instagram. And I'm really good at shutting it down and going to bed. Like easy. Like I'm done. Once I turn the light off and close my eyes, I am out. Ask my wife, it drives her fucking crazy. I'm out within like 3 minutes. Like I'm like, Garrett's done. I'm shutting it down. Like, and that's another reason, like you said, it was crazy that I drive with no no music or anything, but like I've like shut it down so quick at night that morning drive for me is kind of like, all right, what's going to happen today as I start getting, and then I get to the gym and I like, then it all starts over again. So anyways.
Yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with sleep. Like a lot of people say they get sleepless nights and they're staring at the ceiling, thinking about
Yep.
bids, thinking about job site coordination or whatever. One thing that I can say, and then I want to go back to the job site and what attitudes are like on the job site too. You know, working out in the morning, making sure that I get through the day, compartmentalizing, and then having the energy for my kids. Man, I'm the same way. 8:30, 9 o'clock, second I go horizontal on the couch, my wife will be like, "Hey, can we watch a Halloween movie?" And I'm like, "You're gonna stay up, right?" And I'm like, "Obviously." Like 5 minutes in, fucking snoozing. You know what I mean? And she's taking a picture of me making fun of me. But you know, if you prioritize your energy and you space that out the right way and you manage that all day, you're going to be tired at the end of the day. And if you wake up at the same time every day, Saturday and Sunday included, that's something that you can control. All of a sudden, the time you go to sleep every day is going to fall in line. The caveat, which I've struggled with for the last year, I will genuinely say a prayer for you that you don't deal with this. My son slept very well most of his life. My daughter has not until the last month. And that's why I'm starting to get my legs under me. And that's why I'm posting that in the morning and stuff again, because,
Yeah.
man, she was tough. I'm talking like she'd be up for hours in the middle of the night. Many nights I was up from 1 to 4. And I physically I didn't have it in me to work out at 4 a.m.,
Of
after,
course not.
you know what I mean? Like, so I had to move. I couldn't get married to my routine. And I was posting about that a lot. Like, I literally didn't know what my schedule was going to be because my daughter was that, that much of a risk, right? That, you know what I mean? Like I couldn't do it. So, but I want to go back to the job site. Talked a lot about relationships with people at home. A lot of miserable motherfuckers
Yeah.
on job sites, right? And sometimes that can spill over. And when you're talking to your wife, and you get your anxiety up and you get, sometimes it's talking about the personalities and things that you have to deal with on the job. Has your lifestyle change improved the way that you deal with people, at work?
I think so. I mean, honestly, dude, I'm so grateful and like I hate to sound I'm so blessed, man, but I really I really feel like I just have like such a solid team. Like the guy I use for all my plumbing, Keith, like I consider him a good friend. Like he just does phenomenal work and I can trust him. We can go over something and I can leave and I know it's going to get done right. My drywall guy, like awesome guy. We've done so much work together. It's like he comes and measures, he's going to hang it, he's going to tape it, he's going to sand it, he's going to prime everything, and it's going to be ready for the finishes. Like I just am like really lucky that all the people that I work with are winning, and some of them might not be in like great shape, but everybody is in a good mood. We all coordinate and are all on the same page. And I also, I know what I'm doing. And that's like, as a general contractor, there's a lot of general contractors that do not know what they're doing. So like, I was just talking to my electrician, not to jump off topic, but he was saying something and I was like, oh yeah, and then we're going to blah, 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 blah. And he was like, well, look at you. Mr. Electrician. And I'm like, well, dude, like, I want to learn this stuff. Like, so I know, like, I like to know the processes, and I don't want to just know carpentry. So, again, I've just been like really lucky that I have a great team. But that was definitely not always the case when I worked for other people and worked around other, miserable people, people that drink too much, people that smoke too much, people that don't sleep well at night, or they're up all night drinking and then they're hungover in the morning and then they're smoking weed all day. I've hung with the best of them. I was one of them. And it's all about who you surround yourself with. That was I had like three quotes that I wanted to have with me for this podcast, and they're like downstairs somewhere. But that is like one of the things that it is like all about who you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with negative fucking people, you're going to be negative. And I just don't do that. I surround myself on my job sites with people that want to do quality work. They like working for me because I want to do quality work. They do quality work. We're all just driving and we're having a good time doing what we love to do, because I truly do love what I do every day. Yeah, it gets stressful, but I like how you said, like, we don't just go off into the world and we're hanging with the boys. Like, yeah, sure. Like, we have some good times on the job sites, but today I think my phone rang probably like 57 times and I'm ordering shit and dealing with a customer, and I got a job down in Biddeford and I got a job. So it's like, I like that. I like to be moving, and I wasn't doing that down in Florida. So I'm really excited to be doing that again. But yeah, it's just, I'm totally grateful for the team I have, man, because I don't have to deal with bullshit throughout the day, like, ever. We're just all on the same page, which is awesome.
So that was a lot of feedback that I had, on social media when I did the poll, was to surround yourself with a good team, both inside and outside of work, like hang out with the right people. And I think the thing that a lot of people I think would struggle with is at the beginning of your career, especially if you're younger and you're a younger father, you don't really have control over that. I'm fortunate enough where I'm in a position at work where I'm building my own team, and I love my team. My team is so fucking awesome. I think one of the things that I've had to do as a leader is kind of like let go and let them delegate and let them kind of like take an opportunity to shine, and they're just all rising to the occasion. They all know who they are. We just hit some major milestones at work. Like, we hit $100 million, over the last 4 quarters, over 1,500 projects, and I'm just super impressed by like what they've been able to do. And I don't think that I would have been able to, I wouldn't be in such a good place, as good a place I am right now, if we didn't get the right people. And that's the kind of culture that we're trying to cultivate and surround ourselves with. And I want to be that kind of leader for them too, right? Like, I want to make sure one of them has a child coming up in December, and I want him to have time to be home and to be there for the first couple of weeks and to take on, part of the workload and maybe work from home a couple of days if he can. Other people on my team, I try to give them the opportunity. Like, if you got to disappear, if you want to come in early and then disappear to go to the gym during the day, do that if that's better for your commute schedule. If you got to go in the morning, like, whatever you got to do to stay right between the ears. We'll have our crunch times, right? But I try to be, that person that, gets to cultivate that good culture for them. And on the job site specifically, like, especially in the world that I'm in, I love the fact that you have a lot of control over who you work with, especially as your own contractor. And that's a good thing to work towards. Like, especially if you're in a trade and you want to own your own business one day, I think that's one of the benefits of being in residential construction. I've had horrible experiences in residential construction because I was with a bunch of miserable pricks, but it just wasn't, I was out of my element. Like, I didn't belong in that. I didn't belong there. It's just not what my background's in. And, that's another story for another day. But I've been on big job sites too, where you get your core guys and you're screwing around and you're playing pranks on each other. And yeah, you have tough days and you have long days, but you work through it. But there's always the trades that, like, that foreman walks on the site and you're like, oh, this prick. Like, I don't like,
Yeah.
what problem does he have today? What is he going to whine about today? Who did him wrong today? What change orders is he going to try to give me today? And I think a lot of that comes from toxic culture, like you said. A lot of guys drink way too much. Guys drink 5 times a week on the average in the construction industry. That kills your sleep, by the way. If there's one thing that has improved my sleep in my life, more than anything, it's not drinking. I mean, I went on a bachelor party a couple weeks ago. I drank too much. I literally didn't sleep for like 4 days. like it affected me like that much.
Well,
When
because
you
you like
don't,
pass out.
yeah, and you don't get any, REM sleep, and like the domino effect of anything more than 2 drinks is like really bad. It's not, even 2 drinks will cut you down to like 2 hours of REM sleep a night or something like that. But the smoking and the toxic culture, the way they talk about their wives and the way that they talk about their kids, and everybody, they're always complaining, and it's like cool to complain and say, "Oh yeah, you're not in construction unless you're divorced and have a DUI and have a or not an eating disorder, but like a disease or a disorder or something like that." You know what I mean? Like, but or depressed, or like it's like the 3 Ds, whatever they say.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
buying into that culture, number one, is toxic as hell, and you should stay away from it. You don't have to buy into it, especially if you don't control the people who are around you. But also, like, just be ready for that. A lot of hurt people out there. There's a lot of guys that are in a lot of pain. You know what I mean? Sometimes the way that they come at you or the way that they conduct themselves is a reflection of that. And just kind of take a minute and like let them blow their steam, let them pull their pecker out and let you know how big it is, or bitch and moan or whatever they want to do. Um, and I've even just said to guys before, like, do you feel better? Can we can we talk about something productive? Like, are we going to fix whatever we're talking about now?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So just don't buy into the culture, number one, and just be aware that there's a lot of people hurt out there and a lot of pain, and that's not a reflection on you. And the more humble you are, and you just kind of like handle that and get what you need to do, and just get away from that person, the better you're going to be.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. Just like with anything, right? Like social media and all that shit. Like, there's a lot of hurt people. You- and once you, as you know now, with the following, like, you get a lot of negative shit. And if you let that stuff get to you, like, just don't let it get to you. Pray for the person. Like, fucking shrug it off. Pray for them. Move on.
It sounds corny as hell, but it's true. I mean,
Yeah.
and to be honest with you, when you don't react, when you don't mirror that anxiety or the anger that somebody has on a job site, um, usually it takes them back. Usually they're like, oh, like you can kind of see it on their face, like like, oh, that didn't move the needle for you. I'll just go f myself, like you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Are you
Um,
done? Can we work now? Are you
yeah,
done? Okay.
yeah. Um, so I thought that was good. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up, I mean, real quick, I mean, I grew up on my uncle's job sites, and, I think maybe Richard was the only guy that was still married. All of them were divorced. 3 o'clock was party time. They had coolers full of whiskey and beers, and it was like as they were cleaning up the job site, everybody started getting fucked up. And I saw that at like such a young age that I just thought that negativity and partying and all that, was just normal. And all those guys, now that I look back at it, like all those guys were so out of shape, like overweight. Like, isn't it funny that like such a physically active job, like so many people are out of shape, man? It's wild.
it's why it's 78%, I think, is the
Yeah.
number now for
And I
construction.
never, I never noticed it until I started doing what I'm doing now. Like it didn't even cross my mind. I'm just like, oh, all right, like,
When I think like as you start, we've talked about this, as you
yeah.
start taking care of yourself and seeing yourself in the mirror and feeling better about yourself, you start judging the shit out of people. Right? And I think that's just another way not to look at them from a pedestal, but to be more confident in yourself and be like, man, I remember what it was like to hurt like that, or I know what it's like to hurt like that. You know what I mean? Like you kind of see the weaknesses and the flaws in other people, and you can kind of foreshadow is probably not the right word, but you can probably kind of project like what they have going on in their life and what they haven't figured out. So the more you take care of yourself, the more you're going to be equipped to kind of, let those people kind of roll off your back and just kind of sort of shed them like water, or I don't know, insert some metaphor that I can't think of right now.
Yeah, I mean, you did that post there with that picture, like what, like a month or so ago, and everybody went fucking ape shit about it. The overweight picture or something. Remember that one?
Did I?
It was like a meme, like with the overweight guy, and like some like dude was like flipping out like a tile guy or something. I don't know. Am I
Did I post that?
imagining that?
I,
Yeah.
I,
Didn't
that's
you?
that's content that I need. If it wasn't me, I want
I
it.
don't know. I'm pretty sure you did. It was something. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah,
No.
sometimes the content I might intentionally get people a little riled up. But so the last thing, I mean, and it's really kind of just a culmination of everything, that people had brought in there and you had touched on, was just love and support. You got to have a strong support system that aligns with your vision, whether it's people that you work with, whether it's people at home. And a lot of that starts with you and how you treat people. Um, you had some thoughts on unconditional love, and it sounds corny as hell, but if you wouldn't mind just touching on it, I think it's important.
I mean, just I saw something. I follow some dude. I can't remember what his name is now, but he said children don't ask to come into the world, like we bring them into the world or something like that. And it like really, as corny as it is, like sometimes you see those things on Instagram and you're just like heart sinks and you're like, oh my fucking word. Cause like, yeah, man, it's just like, I can't deny my kid. He looks exactly like me. And I just, it's just like, dude, just before I was coming up to do this podcast and I just like, he's hanging out outside with his mom with his little beanie on and his little flannel. He just like sees stars for once. Like, dude, his whole life's basically been in Florida. I didn't see stars down there. There were so many fucking street lights and house lights.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't see shit down there. He like every once in a while we see Venus and he'd be like, what is that? And like, so there's like just those little things and just like hug him and give him that unconditional love to show him that I love him. And I'll see him in the morning. Like, just those little things, man. Again, going back to those, cherish those moments. And I definitely, dude, I still struggle. I don't want to come off. Every time I'm on a podcast, I never want to come off like I'm perfect because I don't. And I really feel like I portray myself as a real person on Instagram. And when you meet me in person, I am what you've been following. I feel like a lot of people aren't that. So, but I struggle with cherishing those little moments and sometimes I struggle with showing the love that I should be showing. So but I work on it and I catch myself usually pretty quickly and have that real conversation with my kid about, like, oh, I'm sorry if I yelled at you. I'm sorry because I do things out of line. Sometimes we all do. We're parents. It's hard to be a fucking parent.
Yeah.
It really is. It is. You think like I remember I used to get a lot of questions asked like, oh, work-life balance. Like, how's that work before I had kids? And now like, now that I have them, it is so hard to be a parent, but it is one of the most fulfilling gifts ever. So much so that, we wanted to have another kid. You had another kid. You're talking about potentially having a third kid. It is the best thing. And anybody that doesn't get the chance to be a parent because by choice, because they like, oh, I don't want kids, you're like totally missing out on one of the greatest things ever. It's so cool. I've been living with my mom and like, I'm her baby. I'm the youngest of three and I'm still like blown away most days that I'm a dad. It's like, really? Like, like, cause it's just that cool. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's cheesy, but it's true.
I think completing a thought right here because you just made me think of something that I had no intention of talking about. Oftentimes especially when I come home, especially when I'm tired, I said before that I snapped. Used to be a football coach. Obviously, I go to dark places for motivation and discipline in my own, fitness and work ethic. And my dad was very hard on me. I'm very hard on kids when I coach them in football. I'm very quick to come down as a hard disciplinarian, right? And I'm so focused on trying to be the best example for my kids, and I want to instill discipline and hard work and all those things in my son specifically, but definitely my daughter too. She just doesn't act out like my son can right now because she's only 18 months. I'm really quick to raise my voice too often, right? I'm really quick to tell him he's going to get spanked or to flick him in the ear, right? You don't need to come down on me like Adrian Peterson, and telling me that I'm, child abuser. But, I'm very quick to do that because I got so much going on in my mind and I'm so hard on myself and I hold myself to such a standard and I talk to myself in a very dark way, oftentimes to get things done, that comes out to my son way too quickly, like way too quickly. And the times where I get a better reaction out of him isn't when I try to instill fear in him or hard discipline like I'm in the military or something like that. It's when he flips out, he throws a tantrum, he throws something across the room, or he, hits his sister, or he hits my wife, or because he will act out way worse with her than me. I think that's just a natural thing because he's probably
Yep.
naturally afraid of me a little bit.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
I pick him up and remove him from the room, despite all of my impulses, and calm down and hug him and talk to him eye to eye, he understands the logic. I may have to do it 2, 3 times, but he gets it. I know he gets it because I will see a difference in the way that he acts. But have it it sounds corny, like you said, but that's an act of love, right? I'm when I do that, I'm going to love first. My son just did something wrong. I need to let him know that it's wrong. I need to pull him aside. I need to hug him. I need to get his attention and explain to him why what he did was wrong. There will be times where I will have to come down on him hard, right? And he
Right.
he, he might feel it, but that can't be the impulse. Like that can't be the first resort. Like me remaining calm and understanding and expecting that he's 3 years old and he's going to do shit that he's going to have behaviors and actions that need to be curbed. And I might not be ready for it. And it's never going to be a convenient time for me to accept that or to process that well. Like I have to train myself to make the trigger, pick him up, take him out of the situation, talk to him eye to eye and give him a hug and tell him, hey, you're too smart for this. I love you. We don't act like that. That's not how we do things. And try that 3 times before you crank up the volume and give them a punishment.
I agree. I don't do that enough either. So, dude, this whole conversation's made me realize a bunch of stuff. So I'm really excited that we did this.
Dude, it's hard. It's hard. Like,
Yeah.
and I feel like all the time I get imposter syndrome too. Like I post a bunch of stuff and what a lot of people don't realize is that when I post something, it's not because I'm posting it from a pedestal, like you should be doing what I'm doing. I'm posting that because I'm struggling with it right now. Right. That's when I post stuff like that. My post today was that, right? Like I'm falling off. I'm losing perspective. I had to bring it back. I also had to acknowledge how far I've come in life sometimes, right? Like I have accomplished a lot here, right? Like I have improved as a husband a lot here. I have improved as a father a lot here. And it's important to remember those things so you don't always feel like you're starting off on square one. But yeah, man, it's fucking hard. And people don't talk about it. Guys definitely don't talk about it enough.
Yeah. And I don't know what the percentage is, but I think that there's probably a lot of, well, there's just, our kids are a reflection of us, to be honest. Like they're going to, like you said, they're watching us all the time. So whatever we're doing, they're going to do. And that's kind of how they're going to grow up. So the more we can set the example for them. And
Have you seen your son snap or react or say a phrase to something and you were like, oh my God?
yeah, yeah. Dude, the other day, he said, so there's turkeys that come over on the property, and I must have said like the fucking turkeys are back because we can't let the dogs out when the turkeys show up because Boomer will try to kill them, and like the turkeys were back, and Weston goes, one of them flew off, and Weston goes, the fucking turkey flew away or something. Just like, but he said it like kind of like angry, like
Yeah.
Dad would say it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, did he really just say that?
Have you you don't have to answer this. Have you had a fight with your wife in front of him and haven't had him comment on it yet?
No, not really, thankfully. I've definitely been angry in front of him though, not towards Megan, but just in general. Like I said, like down in Florida the last few months we were there, I was not a very nice person. So, he definitely saw me way more angry than I wish he. Luckily, he won't really remember it, but it's still, it sucks.
So I think some of the worst memories that I have as a child was my parents arguing and then they got into, new marriages and them arguing and the cops showing up and all those things. And I had a moment recently. This is me being vulnerable right here. My wife and I got an argument about something stupid, like really stupid. It wasn't anything of significance, but we raised our voices at each other, and it lasted all of 30 seconds, right? And my my, my son looked at me and he goes, "Calm down, Dad." And I was like, "You little bugger, you taking sides? Like, the fuck's going on here?"
Yeah.
No, but um, then he started asking, "Why is Mom upset? Why did you yell at her?" And then he goes into the other room and he's like, "Why are you yelling at Dad?" And man, couldn't have felt much lower than that. You know what I mean? Especially where I came from. And it was like the worst thing that you want to do is start emulating your parents when you had some trauma, right? And I mean, maybe I just needed it as a reminder. Like sometimes these things just maybe it's not the worst thing in the world, and you got to take it as a reminder so it doesn't escalate and get worse and worse and worse into something that they can't forget or that they pick up on their own, like they think the world is conducted that way.
Yep.
But it's definitely something that I got to be conscious of, and I felt like I've been conscious of it in the past, but it was a moment where it was just a mistake, and I let my temper get the best of me, and we both raised our voices at each other, and my son was just so aware of it and just processing it in real time and talking to us about it. And it was like, holy shit, man. Like if that doesn't hit you like it's on a reality, like, or change your perspective on something, like, man, the way you talk to your wife and the way your wife talks to you and how you handle each other. Um, if there's anything that they're going to pick up on, they're going to pick up on that. And you got to be careful of it, no matter what you got going on in your head or how stressed out you are or anything like that.
Well, yeah, and like two high energy guys, I kind of have like a loud voice as it is. So like you kind of sometimes it's hard to decipher like if am I really angry or am I just that's just kind of the way I talk sometimes. So for him, like you said, for him to be like, "What? Calm down, Dad." Like I've definitely had Weston look at me and be like, "Daddy, angry." It's like he knows
Yeah.
the difference. He knows the difference from Daddy's normal voice to like when Daddy's pissed. So that always hits. I'm like, "Fuck," a little bit.
Yeah.
No, again,
I'm loud
yep,
and my wife's Italian.
yeah,
And so that, sometimes
yeah.
I think sometimes our tone comes across wrong to each other and that escalates. And I think above all else, like if you need a purpose to slow down and not like get too excited, the kids watching is definitely something. So
They're always watching.
so I mean, is there anything else that we didn't cover? We covered a lot. There's a
Covered a
lot
lot,
here.
man. There is a lot here. No, I think that's a great. I think it's a great episode, man. I really hope that, as always, when doing these things, I hope it helps somebody. At least one person, if not many. And yeah, I don't know. I think we covered all the ground here, man.
Yeah, I think we did too. I hope it helps somebody. I hope people made it all the way through it, because I think there's a ton of value for people, whether they're a parent or they're going to become a parent. I think both of us agree. I wouldn't have life any other way. Elon Musk said it the best. Like if kids weren't worth it, like humans are pretty lazy, we wouldn't have them.
Right
Like we wouldn't continue to reproduce. So it's definitely the best job I've ever had. And I think, but it is tough, and it's a lot of pressure, and I definitely think people can collapse under it if they don't have the right perspective, if they're not practicing the right, working the right muscles. And I don't mean just physically in the gym, I mean like the triggers and the way that we perceive things. So and I think it's super important and relatable, and especially a struggle for people in construction. So it's not just about job opportunities and talking nuts and bolts. It's about success, and this episode is probably more relevant to success than anything else that I've ever talked about. So
yeah,
so I appreciate you coming on, man. As soon as I stop hitting record, I'll talk about seeing you in a couple weeks, and maybe we can get the kids together. So
shit. Nice.
it's coming. So again, Construction Mentor Podcast. Go check out Garrett's content. The Life of Bub, The Life of BUB Bub, for all the good content. With his carpentry business, up in Maine. He's got a great following. He's got very good content. And then if you want to follow me, at the Construction Mentor, pretty much on all major platforms, or just type in Construction Mentor Podcast and you can find us. Appreciate you guys. See you next time.